at the end of the presentation. But for now, I'm going to turn it over to Eric and the team at Neenah. Thanks.
Thank you, Jill. Everybody hear me okay? All right, so thanks for joining. Again, wide format segment, super great growth opportunity in our industry. You know, our industry is challenged with COVID, and it's just challenged overall. So the more we can be broad with our offering, the better for all of us. And again, digital is another huge platform for us. But today's topic's wide format. The thing, if you remember one thing from this whole thing, hopefully you remember a bunch. The slide deck is great and it gives you lots of awesome visuals, but just think about great environmental options. There's a ton of different substrates that you can print on in wide format, just like in paper, but there are very few choices that are environmentally as awesome as what we have. So being green, the other thing I want to share with you too, being green doesn't mean that you have to pay more, right? So you just have to be sensible on your choices. And then Doug's got a couple of slides in there that'll really touch to that point. So I won't steal his thunder. But being green does not have to cost you more, right? So today we're going to give you a 35-minute or so macro view of everything that's what we would call kind of our best sellers, plus a couple of new items. So, it's not good to just hold up a swatch book. So I'm only going to do this for right now. So our wide format swatch has many other products in there that we're not going to cover today specifically. So if you need samples of anything, you need follow-up info of anything, any one-off sell sheets of anything, just let us know. So also on the call, so again, I'm going to introduce Doug last, but we have Eric Hirschbrunner. So he's E2, I'm E1. We tag team the Millcraft group, taking care of all their sellers. We have Michelle Pistoni. So most of you know Michelle if you've been on these in the past. She did direct mail and a couple of other topics. So Michelle is on. She's our customer marketing manager. And then we have all of our managers here with Bernie Hennessy. He's our East Regional Manager. So he's making sure we're doing our jobs today, probably. So anyways, without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Doug Griever, our wide format specialist and guru, and we're going to review the chat room, so ask any questions you want. Doug?
Hey, great. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Doug Griever. I'm the wide format person in Neenah. It's a pleasure to be with you all here today. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, which has the deck for today. And if I could, Eric or somebody or Jill, if you could just give me a thumbs up that that's up and we're good to go. All right. Well, thank you very much. So again, Neenah, Neenah and the wide format world, we're very excited about this product line. It's really, and as all of us in commercial print know, this whole area of wide format is really a great growth opportunity. Neenah has identified that as well. And we're going to spend a few minutes going through at a very high level the Neenah wide format portfolio. And then certainly, as Eric had mentioned, utilize the chat function if you've got questions as we're going through this, as well as at the end, we'll leave some time for some Q&A. All right, so with that, I'm just going to call out, kind of a highlight that Eric mentioned in, let's go here, excuse me. Here we are. So one thing Eric mentioned was this whole idea of green, and I just have one slide here that talks about, paper versus plastic. And as we all know, those of us in the paper space especially, we know paper really is a very important product in terms of sustainability. There's a worldwide network of recycling. Paper can be recycled up to 7 times. And one statistic that we call out is just the difference in end of use. So with this whole portfolio or the wide format world, as you think about it, start with the end in mind. When you're done with this particular piece, what is going to happen to it, right? And really there's 3 options. You can recycle, you can put things in a landfill, or you can actually incinerate them. And just one thing that we call out is on average per ton, as you see, it's literally more than double if you're going to incinerate, but it's a significant cost to landfill as well. Overall in the US, now this is statistics that the EPA just put out for the most recent year, 68% of paper in the United States is actually recovered and then repurposed into new paper versus the world of plastics. So plastics, this is a statistic that every minute we're accumulating enough plastic waste where by 2050, you're going to see more weight plastics than fish in the ocean. Recycling, you hear many things about plastics and recycling and say that can be, it's really a very challenging product to recycle globally. So here in the States, right now, only about a 4.5% recovery rate. And now these are statistics that were put out by the American Forest and Paper Association, but these statistics are what the EPA actually uses. So very reliable statistics. It just really goes to that whole idea that paper gives you a great sustainability story. So enter the world of wide format with Neenah. So we're built to provide a smarter, more sustainable alternative to single or limited use based plastic-based materials. Products are sustainably sourced, FSC certified paper. We know that that's really a key element that your customers are asking for is sustainable papers, all made domestically, PVC free. You're going to hear that in a number of the different areas throughout the presentation. PVC free, superior printing without static. Hold that thought for a moment. I'm going to bring that right back around here. And almost all grades have some element of post-consumer recycled content in them. So you see different images here about those pieces. We'll go into more depth here in just a moment with each of those particular products. I want to spend a moment just talking about overall paper versus plastic and then the science behind it in printing. And this is a simple slide that kind of illustrates the difference between printing on Neenah paper products in the wide format category versus plastics. And what you see at the top here is really an illustration, whether you're talking roll, you're talking flatbed printing. This is kind of how the printing works, where you've got LED curing, UV curing. And so, I mean, think about your new Mamaki machines that Mike can tell you more about. This is exactly how these work. Neenah substrates lay down differently. The ink lays down and sits differently on the substrate than it does with plastic. Basically, the paper absorbs the ink better, more consistently, smoother than it does with plastic. So if any of you have worked on wide format products, you know that bending a lot of times is a real challenge about what you would fight when you're in the production world. Okay, so the very nature of printing to paper, it creates a better finished product. You know, banding, that's really the benchmark for testing, you know, print speeds and bleed of the paper, the substrate. It actually allows this paper to print faster than, say, a plastic. All right, so picture's really worth 1,000 words, and we're going to have some samples that we can kind of present to you to show the difference between the two. One other thing to think about, this is a real good opportunity to rethink what print production really means. And, you know, to Eric's point about, you know, the price of course is very important. Let's talk about, just for a moment, the price of a substrate versus the total cost of the product. And with paper versus plastic, you have opportunities to actually save and reduce the cost of the overall product. So for instance, reduced waste. If you've worked on the world of styrenes or plastics, you know, static, fingerprints, damage, you know, all of that accumulates and adds to the cost of the overall project. Same thing with production time. Large pieces, especially those flat pieces where you're talking maybe a 48 by 96 inch sheet, spends a lot of time on machine here, much different than in the offset print world. So accelerated times for printing, less passes, no banding, you know, faster cutting because you're doing drag cutting versus oscillating cuts, okay? This piece, easier handling, no fingerprints. I mean, a lot of times if you've worked with plastics at all, you know that you really don't know whether you marred a print surface with finger oil from your fingers until you run the job. And you're halfway into the sheet and all of a sudden you start to see these little smudges come in. It's a big problem. Static can really drive, you know, your productivity down. You have to stop the machine. You have to kind of, you know, clean out those print heads, you know, so really an opportunity there. And then of course we mentioned the end of life. What is it that you're going to be doing with the product when it's all done? Are you going to have to pay to have it disposed of or incinerated? Or are you actually going to be able to use that as part of your overall recycling stream? Things to think about at the high level, Neenah, overall. When we talk about the world of wide format, we break it into two categories. One of them is called visual merchandising. And this is really what most people think about when they think of wide format. You're thinking about things like standees, point of purchase stands, or hanging signs, knockout banners, cutouts, displays that's maybe at the top of a merchandise display. So Neenah has 5 products that fall into this world of visual merchandising. Some are familiar names that you may have heard in the past. A couple are somewhat new. So we're going to talk about our world of flat sheet products first, which is the ImageMax signage and the Convert board. And then we'll get into roll products called Endura, Boxlight, and Greenlight. So ImageMax, we are very excited about ImageMax. This product, it's a plastic alternative to styrene. It's a PVC-free alternative to styrene. We got our start in this product a few years ago because we came up with an engineered paper solution called ImageMax, and I'm holding these up to the camera. These are gift cards that were made from ImageMax. They've moved away from PVC plastics to our ImageMax product. You'll see a couple of very familiar brands here so that when you go buy gift cards, you're actually buying Neenah paper. So if you need to give Neenah paper samples to people, run out to your local Starbucks. With that, we saw the opportunity to create a broad portfolio of plastic replacement plastic alternatives. So the ImageMax line, naturally responsible, 100% paper-based, 100% recyclable. That's really a key element, is this idea of blue bin recycling. Overall, the benefits to the product, again, styrenes, mention it, static free, it's a lighter weight versus the comparable thickness of the substrate of the styrene alternatives. It's 94 bright. We talk about it being a dead white option, which actually means that it has optically, it's a deader surface so that more, you have less show through, better opacity than say traditional, regular, more utility grade styrene. We mentioned about the ink absorption and the faster cutting times and the no fingerprint. So really those are some of the key benefits behind the ImageMax line. We've done a full life cycle analysis, and if you're working with large brands, this idea is really something very powerful because you can bring in metrics to a sustainability officer at a major corporation and give them some hard numbers about savings. We've done a full life cycle analysis on ImageMax versus styrenes. And what it shows is we've got numbers that will say, moving to the ImageMax line, you'll save 79% on your carbon footprint. You use 38% less water, okay? 60% less energy. There's numbers here that we can help you do a full life cycle analysis and kind of come up with a calculation. It would be very powerful for those brands that, because as Jill mentioned earlier, a lot of this, the sustainability elements, it really goes to the heart of what a brand is trying to create out there in the marketplace. Just a couple of brief mentions about the applications. Frame signs, great opportunity to replace. About 80 to 85% of the signs that you'll see in an indoor retail environment are actually plastics. Again, great opportunity there. We also talk about shelf talkers, point of purchase, point of sale displays. All of these elements that you see here are really great candidates for the ImageMax product line. I will also mention that we've got a couple of selling tools with this that you can reach out to your Millcraft rep for. One is just a sell sheet that's actually printed on the material that kind of talks all about it. And then, we've got a great selling tool called ImageMax, and what it presents is a side-by-side comparison. Styrene on one side, ImageMax on the other side. This is really a great introduction to the product line. If you need one of these, feel free to reach out to your Millcraft rep. We're happy to supply these to you. It really does a great job of telling the story. That's ImageMax. We're going to move into the world of Convert board. And during the next few, I'm actually going to give you kind of a sneak peek at some product and applications we've got for the world of COVID. Because a lot of times there's the social distancing, or brands are all about trying to keep people safe. reassure them to come back into the stores. We've got a couple of products here that are going to help highlight that. So the Convert board line, it is a paper-based PVC-free line. It comes in calipers between 1.5 and 6 mil. And you're going to see in these two pictures up here, the actual live product, Convert product out in the market. So one you see is a hanging sign in the big box environment. And over here on the right side in this clothing store, you'll see different pieces, you know, that girl's denim on the top, that's Convert. There's a little bit of Convert, you know, throughout the store. It's available in sheets of 48 by 96, or in a couple of the most popular categories, a 60 by 120. They're available as white sheets or black sheets. We also have something called Wipe Clean, and I'll hit that in just a moment. This is really a great alternative for expanded PVCs, for Sintra board, foam core, gator board. Great options if you're looking for a more sustainable solution. Here's just a couple of pictures again from the marketplace about what you see. And this is a set of purchase displays for barefoot wines. What I really like, if you kind of see this area here that I'm pointing to, that snowflake. Oops, excuse me, I'm going to go back one piece. That snowflake is actually Convert. So just take a look at the detail in that snowflake and about how well that cut and stayed, you know, and stays up. Santa is Convert. Over here on this side, the pumpkins and the feet are all Convert. It really prints beautifully and it cuts beautifully. Standees, dimensional displays, they're all great candidates for the Convert line. Now for COVID, we've got a new product in the Convert line called Wipe Clean. 100% paper-based, blue bin recyclable, PVC and static free, and this is really designed to be an alternative in an environment where you can spray it, wipe it clean, and it's disinfected. It's designed to work with a simple solution, you know, water and soap mixture. It's done. We did a lot of testing on this based on the CDC guidelines about using a disinfectant, and what we found is that the treatment that we put on this, you can clean it and it doesn't harm the print surface. So very excited about this product. It's available in the most popular category of 4 mil. It's a 48 by 96 sheet. We have samples of it available. Feel free to reach out to your Millcraft rep if this is something that you'd be interested in. A couple of other products that we briefly mentioned in our flat wide format category. We have luster board and dual board. These are premium C2S sheets that are available. They're high bulk, low density construction. They don't show fingerprints. The dual board is available in a 50-point sheet. The luster board is three calipers, 12, 18, and 24 point. What's great about this line is we have very small pull-ups available. You need 50 sheets, got it available. In the luster board, we sell full skids or we sell by cartons of 125. So again, great opportunity, especially for those folks where they're doing just very, very small, quick turn jobs. Let's move into the world of roll for a moment. 3 products that we see here, Endura. This is our latex saturated poster paper. Great product for both indoor as well as short-term outdoor use because it's got some wet strength capabilities to it. So bright white, has a great look to it, folds without cracking, and has no roll set curl memory. So ideal for the new Mamakis that are out there that feature, you can print this in matte coating with a satin, or we also have a version of this available with a permanent adhesive backing called Stick P. So wide variety of products here. These are great replacements for products like vinyl or Trisolve or some of those that are more the vinyl-based alternatives. Boxlight. This is one of the most popular products that we have in the wide format category for retail. What you see up here are actual pieces that are out in the marketplace. You know, you'll see things from Universal Studios or these products down here are at Whole Foods. This is our blackout material. paper-based, 100% opaque, C2S, so prints well on both sides, dimensionally stable, moisture resistant. It's got a 97 bright. It's got two calipers. The FR option is our flame retardant option. So once we get back to the world of, say, trade shows and you're into those environments that require some type of fire resistance, it's a great alternative. In addition to printing UV, this also works well in the world of latex printers. Just a quick call out, this Mardi Gras piece here, the printer actually applied a laminate over the top where it turned into a cling, a window cling. So it's a great way to have a nice premium looking paper-based window cling. And again, this is a product that's available in stock through Millcraft. The last one I'll call it is our green light. This is our backlit material. So you'll see like this is a picture of a piece at a bus shelter, or here like at a theater marquee. Put in two sides for mirror printing, because if you're doing backlit, of course, you want to make sure that whatever shows through only shows through as intended. It's moisture resistant, dimensionally stable. It has some great properties because it's paper, so the formation of the paper really gives it a very unique, uniform transmission of that light from the back of the surface out to the front. It's specified worldwide by a number of the companies that coordinate outdoor advertising. So as you're working with those large brands and they happen to specify green light, this is the product. Great replacement for backlit films or vinyls. Well, I don't know if we have any questions on that. Otherwise, I'm going to move into the world of what's new. So another COVID opportunity we've identified is floor decals, floor decoration. So we've covered the products for the windows, for the walls, and now we're pleased to announce a product for the floors. It's a one-step floor graphic, that has been UL approved for use in environments. It's called Digiscape Footprint. It's available early next month in a 9mm category, and this is an image of what a sample piece looks like, which you have available, and we can get you sample sheets as you need. It's got adhesive on the back. It's a single-step floor graphic, so no over laminates required. You can print this, cut it, put it on the floor, and it's ready to go. UL 410 approved, so that's the certification for slip resistance. Again, PVC free, 30% plus consumer waste, and we're one of the few manufacturers of substrates where it's produced here in the States. This product, if any of you are into the world of floor graphics at all, you know what a challenge it's been lately to find product available. So we're very excited about this product. Here's just a kind of a hint of where we see the future. Social distance messaging now can be part of a brand's advertising campaign. So as you see here, this is in, picture your grocery store environment. This is an actual piece featuring maintain a 6-tube safety distance between you and the cart next to you. We're very excited about Footprint. We'll shift gears briefly. We'll talk about the other segments. So we covered visual merchandising. Now we'll get into the world of environmental branding and decor. So we've got two products here. It's called Digiscape or Enviroscape Mural. So again, this is really, and here are some images, both in terms of in terms of the applications. So retail, there's a large opportunity in the world of retail. This is an image featuring a product called Smart Wool socks, right? And these are digitally printed wall coverings that go up into retail environments. So you'll see that in the upper left and the lower right about applications for the Digiscape line, as well as in the middle. That was a backdrop for Univision's annual television awards. That backdrop was printed with the Neenah Digiscape line. So really is kind of a great canvas on which wide format displays can be built. The other opportunity that we see is in office interiors. That's where you see this on the lower left. A lot of companies are looking to create that environment. More folks are actually getting back into their office spaces now. That office space, there's an opportunity to maybe make that a little bit different, right? And then also in the world of hospitality, Lots of opportunity, both in terms of the hospitality chains themselves, as well as maybe some of the folks that are doing like a VRBO type of portfolio of real estate. So we see opportunity there. And then home. There's a segment of online producers of wallpaper that actually it's all done digitally. It's a huge market for us in this. So if you are at all connected or looking to get into these markets, feel free to reach out. Just an overall view of the portfolio, it really starts with how are you going to put the product up onto the wall. 3 ways to do it. One is the traditional where you're putting, you have a professional installer coming in and you're putting adhesive on the wall. So that's where our Digiscape products come in. We talk about type 1 and type 2. Those are architectural designations about durability, and there's some ratings in there about in certain environments you need to have a type 2 versus say a type 1. They're all PVC free. They have wet strength in them. They're breathable. The installers love this product because unlike vinyl or some of the more traditional wall coverings, this stuff breathes and moves. So they're really excited to use this product, in the installations. This is a smarter replacement for products that you have out there like Dreamscape or Choreographics or Vestcom. For temporary applications, we have the Digiscape Stick R product. This is where we see a lot in terms of visual marketing, at the retail level. Promotional murals, cash wraps. I mean, there's really a great opportunity here. Again, same idea, PVC-free, wet strength. The replacement here is for Phototex or adhesive vinyls. And then we've also got a product which is water activated called Enviroscape. So this is where you actually wet the back of the product. If you've ever done this at home, this maybe is where some of those like those big decals that go on the wall, that's where this product comes into play. Permanent design, both the Digiscape, type 1, type 2, and the Enviroscape are meant for more permanent applications. The Stick R, that's usually meant for, say, a few weeks, maybe to a couple of months. Once you get to, say, maybe 6 months, that adhesive is going to tend to harden and become permanent. The Enviroscape, that's really for permanent solutions. And they're alternatives to, say, the HP Wall Art line, Alstrom, or Monadnock line. So with that, throwing a lot at you, we'd love to have some questions if you have them either in the chat box or, certainly reach out to Eric or the Millcraft team. We're very excited about the product line, and we look forward to continuing to create new opportunities together. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and
Hey,
I'm
Doug,
going to turn it back over to Jill.
why don't you keep that up there, because I might have you go back to a couple of those slides. So we did have one question. Just touch a little bit more in detail, and you can test my knowledge. You can correct me here. I'll go first. Regarding like production costs, stuff like that, right? So the biggest things, so if you want to go back to that slide, but I already made my own notes, no banding, right? So when you think about PVCs and plastics, there's really a banding issue in many cases, meaning, once that banding starts, that sheet is done, right? You got to pull that out. You just don't have that on paper-based products. No white gloves. So anybody that's run it, anybody that's been in a press room of wide format, in the box of plastic and PVC, styrene, any kind of product like that, they literally supply you with a little pair of white gloves, like you're going to the prom. You're the prom queen, right? So you've got to use those gloves. Otherwise, you're going to get your oil from your hands, and it fingerprints like crazy. The other thing you need to do with plastic and PVC and styrene kind of products is you have to spray them down with a solution, and you've got to wipe them off with a rag. And then if you don't use the right rag, you're going to get lint, right? And all that's going to be on the product. With our paper-based product, you don't have to wipe anything down, and you can handle it with your hands. It's going to print right over top of any of that. Our product lays really, really flat, and the other part to save in production time is you don't have to use like a white opaque ink to cover like you would a styrene or a PVC kind of a plastic, because those sheets are kind of gray and dingy. Ours are very bright. So when we talk about 94 bright or 97 bright, that kind of stuff, you're already starting out with a really good sheet. So in other words, that's going to save a ton of time in production. So Doug, if I missed anything or you want to add anything, let me know.
No, that's it. Oh, the other thing to call out, samples. We've got plenty of samples available in the different products, whether it's the flat sheets or it's the roll, category.
Yep.
We've got a full wide format stock list, and in there you'll find references to the actual, not only the full size, but also the sample sheets, because a lot of these materials, you've got to get it on the machine and try it, right? Having one, maybe 8.5, 11 is fine, but really if you have say a 20-foot roll, that gives you enough where you can do a few off, get an idea, get it up to speed, and really kind of kick the tires on it to make sure it's going to be a great product.
Hey guys, can I add one?
Go ahead.
Can I add one thing on your Image Max too, so everybody knows? Styrene, there's typically about 5 different color variations on styrene. I mean, you've got blue white, you've got dead white, you've got opaque white. There's a lot of variations. The Image Max sheet is consistent. So if you buy it today, you buy it a month from now, you're getting a consistent sheet. And that is huge when you're trying to deal with some of the major retailers and bigger companies for color consistency. So that's a really, really big plus and bonus for Image Max.
And that's part of it too. I'll add Mike. So Mike's the pro at this for Millcraft. So again, he knows our Neenah product inside out, plus all these other PVCs, all these styrenes and plastics. So to touch on that, there are so many different grades of styrene, as an example, that from a cost standpoint, if you're comparing us versus them, in many cases, you're going to pay exactly the same to be green, or you're actually going to save money to be green. Plus, you can also down gauge, so you don't have to go. So Image Max, perfect example. We have an 010, an 015, an 030, I'm sorry, an 020, an 030, and an 040. But you'll find in a lot of houses, from the printing side, they carry 040 and 060. So in many cases, they're going to overgauge. You're going to be buying more product, more weight than you're actually going to need. And you can down gauge and save money and be green.
So that's awesome information. And I love, Mike, that's a great point, because I do think, as everyone knows, retail's having, a moment right now. It has for a little bit. However, I think the one thing that COVID has done, it has intensified everything we're feeling right now. And I don't think I'm different from many consumers, but I think so many of us are craving a great in-store experience. And I think experiential marketing, and in particular for luxury brands, retailers, even maybe more specialty and local. So maybe e-commerce is what it is, and it has changed the retail landscape forever, but smart retailers and print service providers, this is where I get excited. I think it opens the door to more of that omni-channel conversation. And so when we're talking about maintaining branding integrity cross-platform and creating a true experience for the consumer, I get excited when I see these kinds of innovations in wide format materials, and knowing that they're going to perform as expected. I'm going to just say it. I'm a little bit of a print snob. I expect offset-like results. So knowing that these materials perform in the way that I'm expecting them to, and more importantly, the people I work with, the creatives out there, are expecting as well. It's kind of like truth in advertising, right? Like that allows me to feel good about what we're working with together on, and in turn, that creative or the in-house team can feel confident about what they're building. I did want to just get to a couple of the comments or questions here. And I know they were answered in chat, but I think they're good to address overall. So there was a question regarding availability, whether these are, and I think when we were just talking about Image Max, this one came up, but it probably is about everything, and it's good to touch on. Mike Barrett, you probably know this better than anybody, but availability, is it a mill item on most products? In terms of wide format, do you want to address that a little bit?
Actually, most of all Neenah's products are actually stocked items, which are nice, and it's I just did a quote for somebody the other day on Image Max. There's 39 skids, and I believe it was 250 sheets on the floor or per skid, and they had 39 skids on the floor, 48 by 96. So everything is stocked. And what's nice is we can actually pull from Neenah just like we do all of our offset papers. So it works out really, really well for us. And I see people are coming up for samples and stuff like that. We can get samples to you guys. I mean, I do have some of the Image Max books. And anything you guys need, just let us know. I mean, Eric and these guys are great to work with, helping us out. So by all means, anybody from Millcraft on there, you guys know these guys, reach out to them. They are fantastic to work with.
Yeah,
Thank you,
there's
Mike.
no denying that. I think the Neenah team across media really just do a great job in terms of support, and for printers and designers out there, you know, it's definitely a great resource. And I know that we're working virtually, or it's a hybrid model right now, but that honestly, there's availability there and the resources are there. And I would just say contact your Millcraft rep, or we have a form online. Feel free to fill that out on millcraft.com. Samples, it's up at the top. You can request any of the materials that you've seen here. There was a question about cleaning the floor graphics. How does it clean?
Yes, I saw that. So these are so that the question, and this happens quite often, is, you know, how well does this stand up, right? Does that stand up to the, you know, the nightly scrubbing? And yeah, we have actually tested, you know, this piece in terms of, you know, both the durability of the substrate itself and also what tends to work best, because the durability, the substrate itself, very durable, stands up to the floor scrubbers and the material. The two keys to it, one is the success, is how well the adhesive sticks, right? Because a lot of times, if you've got, you know, a product that maybe doesn't have the best adhesive, you'll have a little bit of lift in the corner, and once you get lift in the corner, that's where you start to see some of the, you know, some of it kind of work its way up. And then the other is, how is the ink laid down? Of course, the best way to do that is with UV. So, you know, if you got one of the new Mamaki machines that does that UV, you know, high-end print process, that's the most durable ink, and that's really going to be the key to making sure that this thing looks good and stands up to it.
Hey, Doug, Eric, when you guys get rolls available, can you send me in sample rolls so I can do some print tests? Because we do have that UCJ V300 in the demo center.
Mm-hmm.
So I can go ahead and get stuff done. And I will say one thing about the floor graphics, because you guys sent me out some samples the other day. We sell a lot of other products for floor graphics. And the Jessup stuff, we've talked before about catwalk and text walk. Guys, we have so many troubles, so many issues trying to cut that stuff because it's so thick and coarse. The samples I got from Neenah on this stuff, I can't wait to play around with it, because it is a what is it, a 9mm product?
Yeah.
To cut
it with a 3mm backer.
Yeah, it's going to be so simple for these print and cut machines to cut this stuff. It's fantastic. But I did have a question from somebody today that I showed the product to, and they were asking me, what are you guys rating it for outdoor durability? Do you guys have a lifespan on it? Because I know customers are going to try to put it outside.
Doug, why don't you, it's UL rated, and we're saying it'll work for indoor and outdoor. I don't know that we've done any testing to say how long it'll work, because the product is new, but I wouldn't be bashful about it for sure.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, the whole UL thing is really, you know, the testing's geared around indoor, you know, and indoor applications. You know, outdoor, you know, there's, you know, a lot of times you get into these coefficient of frictions and a lot of the movement, a lot of those different measures. So we focused on the indoor, but it certainly can be used outdoor. A lot of that is going to be, you know, what are you applying it over the top of? You know, be great, but if you're putting it, say, over stucco, or you're putting it over brick, I mean, all it's going to take is, you know, one heel to kind of poke through. You know, so again, really depends upon the environment and the foot traffic. But we believe, and we've seen where folks are looking at using this for outdoor signs, for sure.
And I guess I'll be stingy and hog your guys' time more. Is there any surface they should stay away from with this product?
Yeah, low pile carpet. Low pile carpet. You know, so for instance, you know, once again, if we get back to the world of trade shows, yeah, I mean, this, you know, because it's paper, it's still going to behave like paper. And on the one hand, the folks love putting it down because it's breathable and it's paper, but yet at the end of it, if you don't have a nice solid surface behind it, it'll behave like paper.
So Mark just asked, I just in the chat box, I know we're going to be sharing the recording today with everybody afterwards as we do after the meetup. Wanted to know if the slide deck would be available. I don't know if that's something you would prefer to share, if you wanted to set up an appointment, have them schedule a time to do a little virtual appointment with you all.
Yeah, that's where we'd like to start, Jill, if we can, and answer the questions. And again, it's nothing other than, it's not that we don't trust folks, but you just never want too much flying around, out there for the competition. Some of these are pretty amazing products, and we really don't want, our competitors to see them, but absolutely from a smaller deck version. Yeah, I'm sure you could twist our arm at some point if we were able to get a little bit of your time. I'm sure we'd send you the deck.
Great.
Sure.
That makes a ton of
Spoken
sense.
by a salesman, right?
Right.
And the other thing with that, and especially in the worldwide format, there's really an opportunity to have conversations about the application. And tell me about it. So you want to replace your plastic. That's great. Tell me about the environment. Where are you putting it? What's it all about, right? Because a lot of times, the application, you really need to fit the product to the application. And by having that conversation, that really helps us make sure that, okay, well, you want to block out, versus, so dead white, block out, what's the difference? I mean, there's a lot of opportunity there, where we can make sure that we marry up the exact right product for the application.
I think that's the biggest learning curve, especially, I'll just say on the creative side of things, is thinking about it in terms of application and finding the right solution. Sometimes that word could be overused, but it truly is. And so this is where I'll give a little plug. And Mike, Barry, I'd love for you to jump in. For those of you on the meetup, and I know we have a broad audience, we have a state-of-the-art wide format demo center in our Columbus division. Mike, I'd love for you to maybe just talk for a second about how the creative community and print service providers, once we get back to life as normal, maybe what they can expect and why they should even care that we have this demo center.
Well, a lot of it is we've got some customers currently. I mean, we've got the UCJB, like I said, that's the roll-to-roll printer. We have a tabletop flatbed. We have a die sub transfer machine down there. A lot of the printers we deal with that are interested in buying equipment or looking into different markets, when we talk to them, we'll call a vendor up and say, hey, can you send me in a sample roll so we can do a test print real quick to show a customer just to see what it's going to look like on a material to discuss our project with them. But the creatives, they like it because when we bring the creative people in and they can really see what these machines can do, then for me, because coming from my background, I'm still kind of a computer person to where I like to go in and do some design, but you meet with these creative people and you start showing them the different applications that can be done, then they really start to think outside the box, because ultimately that's what wide format is. It's outside the box thinking. But bringing you guys into the demo center and having the different samples, like the Enviroscape and the Digiscapes, we have those rolls on the floor. Some of the graphics that were done in the Cleveland corporate office are on Enviroscape. So we've done the wallpaper stuff, so we can bring stuff down. We've got fake walls in there, so it's nice to bring customers in and kind of, I don't want to say throw stuff up on the wall to see what sticks, but that's kind of what we do. So it's kind of still creative, but to bring people in to see different applications, because a lot of people, they have a thought of what will work, but when we bring them in and show them how it will work, it really helps them kick off, whether it's they're doing different advertising or just basic understanding. So the demo center has worked out well for us. Even with COVID, we still average probably 1 to 2 customers a month here lately coming in for demos or just questions.
Great. That's awesome, Mike. So John just asked, who would we contact if we need anything for signage and wide format? And so I'm sitting here typing, like you reach out to your Millcraft rep, and we do have a great wide format and signage team across our footprint that are specialists in it. And we're doing so much in it, which is why we have a really good team of associates that can help you narrow that down. So for Joan, for you specifically, if you want to shoot us an email, just ask at millcraft.com. I think you're in the Cleveland market, so we will hook you up with our wide format specialist, Heather, here in Cleveland. In every market, we kind of have that go-to person that is that specialist. So they really, well, I know a lot about paper and print. When it comes to wide format, I will always bring the specialist in with me because I'm smart enough to know I don't know what I don't know. I learn something every time.
And Jill, they can also email us at wideformat@millcraft.com because that goes directly to me, Alan, and Rick. So when it comes to, if it's technical questions about a material or something like that, yeah, by all means, reach out to your specialist in your market or your salesperson in your market. But when it comes to different applications, they can use that email as well, because between Alan and myself, we've got over 40 years experience running wide format shops.